I have an example for you today of totally backwards morality and bankrupt principles. They're not even really principles, quite frankly. Fox News anchor Martha MacCallum bemoaned a free lunch program in New Jersey, saying there are kids who might grow up thinking school lunch is actually free. Can you guys imagine? Can you imagine if a kid grew up thinking school lunch is free? It would be terrible for them, everybody, I guess. Let's listen to Martha MacCallum. This is like the worst of this strict father morality ideology that we hear espoused by some on the right and certainly on Fox News. Listen to this.
One of the things that kills me is that now that, there's a free lunch program in New Jersey, and it's for everyone, even if you don't need help to send your child's lunch to school. So those kids are all going to grow up thinking, well, lunch is free, right? And then God help the person who comes along and tries to take that away, Larry. You talk about free lunch. I mean, that will never, once that happens, right? But once it's baked in there, it's never going to.
But it's important what you said. You're going to pay for it with higher taxes and higher inflation. And I think common sense Americans know this is not right. They don't want big government socialism. They don't want a welfare state where...
Can you imagine? So, first of all, Martha seems sympathetic to whoever's going to try to stop the free school lunch. Now, there's a couple different things here. How is it that we have public education paid for through taxes? It's like prepaid in a sense. It's not free, it's prepaid. Public education, but not the lunch. You add the lunch, and now it's socialism. Idiotic. I mean, the level on which these people operate is absolutely pathetic. But why shouldn't school lunch be free? And again, in a literal sense, the food's not free, but people pay property taxes to fund schools. People pay property taxes for a lot of things. There are some parts of the country, it's municipality based. In some parts of the country, your property taxes include trash and recycling pickup. It's part of your property taxes. We don't say it's free. We say it's prepaid through property taxes. In some parts of the country, I have relatives who live in municipalities where property taxes don't include trash pickup. You've got to do your property taxes, and then you've got to hire someone, could be $30 a month, whatever, to do your trash pickup and your recycling pickup. In neither case is anything free. Sometimes it's just included. Sometimes property taxes pay for good schools. Sometimes the property taxes people pay for not so good schools. If property taxes cover school lunch, what's the big realization that's going to be devastating for kids? Just, the property taxes cover school lunch. Also, school is mandatory. You have to be there, but they don't have to give you food at no additional cost. Remember, it's not free. It's paid for through property taxes. It's not free at point of purchase to have food when you're obligated to be in school. There are kids who are depending on school in order to eat, by the way. I think it's important to mention. Is it a good thing for kids to be thinking that whether or not they have food that day depends on all of this other stuff other than just, did you come to school today? Great. You get lunch. And remember, it's not really free. It's prepaid. That to be accurate, it's prepaid through property taxes. My mom didn't charge me for lunch at home, but I didn't think it was free. I realized she bought the food. My dad bought the food, right? Imagine thinking that so-called free school lunch is the problem and not the financially, and not the fact that huge corporations sometimes pay zero taxes despite profiting handsomely. Just such a backwards world. And the disdain, the indignant Martha MacCallum. Can you imagine? God help, she says. God help kids who think they grow up thinking that school lunch is free. This is a huge part of the problem ideologically in this country, where we end up having to put energy and time into these debates when we could all just agree like, hey, school lunch being prepaid through property taxes, it's no big deal. Let's focus on something better. Let's improve education. And by the way, if you're hungry at school, you're not going to learn. You're not going to learn. So there's a number of different ways in which this just makes absolutely perfect sense. One of our sponsors today is Helix Sleep, and it's a sponsor I'm thrilled about because I sleep on a Helix mattress at home, and it's just the perfect mattress. One of the best things about Helix is You don't have to guess which mattress do I need, which one will be good for me. You take their famous sleep quiz on their website. You tell them your body type, your sleeping position, your back pain issues you might have, and they will pair you with a mattress that will be perfect for you. I took the sleep quiz. The mattress they suggested was exactly what I needed. I often get too hot at night. The mattress keeps me cool. It's not too soft. It's not too firm. The texture is right. And I've just been getting way better sleep. You only buy a mattress every decade or so. Don't get stuck with something that's not perfect for you. And all Helix mattresses come with a 10-year warranty, and they'll even come to your house and pick it up within 100 days if you don't love it. But I think you will. All of my viewers will get up to $200 off your order, and you'll get 2 super premium pillows for free when you go to the link right underneath this video.